Good morning, Bill.
Morning, Bill. How are you
Morning,
today?
man. I'm good. First, dope glasses, my friend. Those are awesome.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I got them in trade, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like them, but I think I do.
Yeah, you look. You didn't look old before, but you look younger now, I think.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. How was yesterday? You were doing your certification for small business coaching, I think, and I think it took all day, right?
It's 3 days. I'm got it today and tomorrow as well. So that's why I'm at a different location. We meeting up to do it together. So it went really well. It's like any training, It's some of it was good, some of it was like.
Yeah. Did you get any like actionable nuggets from yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. A lot of it is learning their framework for coaching. Yesterday was a lot. I feel like a lot of it yesterday was about noobs, people who hadn't run a business before, and so they were trying to equip people to have processes and workflows and pipelines and things built in a way that made it where that they could spend time. So they're actually going to be talking about prospecting today. So I'll be interested to see, their take on that. Of course, have a little side bill session on that and see good nuggets I'll share. And then we're doing a whole lot of curriculum today. So it'll be a heavy curriculum day, which is cool because it's good stuff so far.
Good morning, Michelle. Good morning,
hey,
Ian.
Michelle.
It's so good to see you both. I had to reach out to Michelle yesterday because you pinged me, and I was like, actually, that's true. We hadn't talked to her in a couple of days, so I reached out to her. She's good. She's just been busy, but super glad to see you, Michelle. It's awesome.
Yeah, I did too, actually. I messaged her. I was like, hey, I hadn't seen you in a while. I just want to make sure you're good. So,
Concerned minds think alike, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, so you guys are doing like a distance thing, though, right? Like you're not like actually in like an auditorium doing all this. Is it hard to stay focused?
Not because of the distance, more because we're just joking around. So we're in a that we reserved, and there's 3 of us at like a 10-person table or something, right? And we've got a TV we're projecting to, and so it's kind of like but everyone is on Zoom, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. And then of course we get yesterday we had 2 breakout sessions. It was pretty cool. The first one, literally, they did intro, they talked about the program, like one other thing, and then we went right to coaching. They had us open up our curriculum book and said, okay, we're going to go to 3 people, and one person's going to coach, and one person's going to be the client, and one person's going to observe. John would have geeked out because we were role playing in the first hour of training. And and it was just go out of the chute and just go use the material. You've never seen it before. I mean, we had because we got it and looked it over. Yeah. It was like the goal is to start getting comfortable with the material.
I mean, so I firmly believe that good coaching is more about getting out of the way and less about what, right? Just like most people think that sales is about like how well can you speak, how influential can you be, which I don't think that it is centered around those things at all. I also don't think that good coaching is like, let me tell you what you should do, right? It's much more about being in alignment, so that way when somebody's stuck on something, you can ask them like, okay, is that important or not, right? But I think that good coaching is mostly self-directed, right? You need someone who's got the overarching view, right? So that way they can work with you and hold you accountable and stuff like this. But it's not, okay, how to go? Okay, you did this and this and this. Now let's talk about what you're going to do next, right? It's got to be, because at the end of the day, the people that you're working with have to take action, right? Mm-hmm. So if I show up and I say, well, you need to journal. I mean, I've got a guy I've been working with for like over a year. And I'm like, how's the journaling going? He's like, I don't need that. Okay. I mean, I disagree. We've talked about it, but you've made your stance very clear on it. And just now he's like, hey, what's that all about? And it's,
hey, we should talk about that.
Yeah. I'm like, oh man, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah.
But like, you fall into this stuff whenever you're ready to to actually put in the work, right? And that's with kung fu, that's with business, that's with sales, that's with marketing, anything at all, right? If you come with an already full cup, right? Most of us do because of how many people want to show us their way of doing things. It's hard to make room sometimes. So I think it's cool that they were like, look, you guys don't know all of this inside and out yet, so go do it. And having the third person there as the spectator that's my jam. Like, I love that so much, because when you're the person who's the prospect or you're the person who's being coached, good morning, Levi, and you're also giving that person feedback, it puts you kind of in this weird spot of,
Right.
do I make it hard? Do I make it easy? Do I come out of this thing? When you've got a special person who's just there to watch and give like good feedback, right? And good feedback is not, well, here's what I would have done. It's, what do you think you did well? And what do you think you need to improve on? And everything starts to change, right, in the role plays. And I largely think that that's why most people don't like to role play, because they don't want to put themselves out there, like bare their souls in these uncomfortable situations and then just get dissected 50 which ways, when they're doing that enough on their own, right? Everybody knows when you mess up something, especially when you've got like a rep or two in there. So
yeah, and a good coaching partner or a role play partner is going to give you the whole sandwich too. They're going to say, you did this well, and you work on this, but you also did this well. You know, it's not going to be scary. And you know, I think depending on the types of group that you're in, because this is a really high level. This is a high level group of people. These are people that are successful coaches. One of the main draws to this is that a lot of people have their own material, which is cool, right? I mean, like, everyone has their own proprietary things that they do and they build it. And, you know, you and I have even talked about this, even from like a marketing and sales perspective. You don't need to be bespoke every single time. You don't need to tailor every single thing to every single person. There are core principles that work every single time, and they always do. You tailor it to the person's context, right? And so I think there's a huge amount of coaches that, like, just give me the baseline content that's well put together, so I don't have to keep rebuilding it, or I don't have to do it my own way. And so that's kind of what we went through, is like basic stuff. And one of the major things was coaches are not cheerleaders. That would be ridiculous. If you had a coach on the sideline just cheering you on, that's just cheerleader. That's not a coach. And coaches are not consultants. Consultants tell you from their expertise, this should work. And I know that because I've been doing this and I'm an expert at it. Coaches equip you and help you see things that you're missing and that you're bumping up against continually, and that things that they help reveal things that you can't see because you're in it.
Yeah.
So if you have a framework, you know, that works, you don't have to spend time consulting, right? Because you just say, hey, check this thing out. If you need help on this, here's a thing, right? You're just coaching through it. So it's been good. It's been really good so far.
When you're looking down the barrel of 2 more days of this, do you have any kind of moments of like, oh my God, like how do you feel about that? Because honestly, spending 3 days watching a bunch of webinars, like right now, I think is about, because like I don't really get a whole lot of Zoom fatigue from doing this kind of stuff because I've been doing it for so long, but I think that would wear me out.
Yes and no, because like I said, I'm in a room with a couple of guys and we're joking around, so we're kind of trying to make it fun. Well, that helps. And then it's actually pretty interactive because this is a training cohort that we would be doing in person. And so we had at least 4 stops where we had Q&A with the speaker, and we had, I asked a question, like, so it's like, and then we have the breakouts where we're actually doing role playing. We're going to be role playing again today. So it feels less like you're sitting on a webinar and more like an actual, almost like you're at a corporation where you're working with your fellow employees and doing things. So it's been, I think the way they set it up is pretty smart.
That's awesome. Yeah, because everybody's is having to make this shift, right? Because most people are not doing live in-person events, and the people who are, I'm a little skeptical about, honestly. So I'll be curious to see kind of like maybe like next summer, like what are the big trends? What are the best practices about doing like online kind of events like this? Because I think we're going to see a lot of really cool people do cool ideas that will then kind of transform the landscape of that.
I've been on 2 kind of versions of this so far in the last month of trainings, and they both have done a heavy amount of small group activity dropped into big group activity, so that I think it reduces that fatigue and helps it feel more like you're not just staring at a screen all day. So, because like we had 3 for this one, I was in another one where we had a group of 5, and we had 25 minutes, and we each got 5 minutes. So kind of everyone got to do their thing, and so. But it's never the same as in person. And I saw a survey on LinkedIn from a pretty big events person on LinkedIn, and kind of consensus is they thought next fall was when there might be some in-person stuff. That was kind of of all the votes, next fall, 2021 was everyone's kind of prediction, I guess, of when we actually see some in-person stuff really start back up. Because there's still the one-offs going on right now. But.
Yeah. So I'm changing subject a little bit, but I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday, and he asked me a question that kind of like hit me square, and I thought it was an interesting thought exercise, right? He goes, and he's not a business friend, right? My friend Mike plays poker full time. I talked about him on the show a little bit. Super smart dude. But yesterday I was done with work, and I was playing video games, and I was playing with him, and he very much has this outside view looking in, right? So he goes, he goes, if you could 10x any one part of your business that was going to get you to the next level, what would that thing need to be? And I was like, man, like that's a really interesting question, right? Because like we talk about a lot, and I think that all entrepreneurs do. If I had more time, if I had more knowledge, if I had more team, and stuff like this, I'd be able to do these things. But it was funny because like in that moment of like him asking me that question, I was kind of, what if I was going to 10x any one of my kind of like leading indicators, like what would that be? And the thing that I came up with was marketing spend, right? Was kind of the thing. It feels like very hard to get out there without marketing money at this point. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking of the answer in my head when you were thinking that, and I wasn't going to say marketing spend. I was going to say prospecting, basically. But I mean, it's the same idea. Is the more qualified people I can get to talk to, the more people I get to work with. That's to me, that's how you create volume, right? Because I mean, it's the reason you run ads. It's the reason you do heavy PR. You pay someone to put your name out there. It's the reason you try and get featured in Forbes magazine as an article, or a Forbes 30 under 30, 40 under 40. I mean, it's the reason so that you get more people coming to you to talk to you about your stuff. So absolutely. And then even the way we have stuff set up at Quirk, we're like, all right, let's figure out your story brand. Let's figure out what your market position is, and let's go in and make sure you guys sales funnel. All these foundations, right? But then the next thing we do is go, all right, when you have some money, it's time to scale, which means we've got to put money out there in targeted places to get more people hitting all this stuff we just built for you. So that's a really great question. Just because I love, and I've talked about this quite a bit, like Socratic questioning for business. Because we tend to talk in businessese when we ask business questions versus just, hey, what do you hate about your day when you work? Oh, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. It's like I love those type of questions.
Yeah, it was interesting because it just kind of hit me like, we were playing video games. Like I wasn't really like in business mindset, and so he's like, what would, if you could 10x any one part of what you do to have the biggest impact on your business, what would it be? And I was like, whoa, that's really interesting, right? Because looking at like leading versus lagging and everything else like this, it'd be easy to be like, well, just more clients. Well, I don't really want more clients, right? I want the right kinds of clients. And how do I get the right kinds of clients, right? I need to be in front of those people. And I also think it's interesting that you're thinking prospecting and I'm thinking marketing, which is kind of the opposite of our skill set.
Yeah. And I just mean more volume of people to talk to potentially, which marketing is supposed to give you. Prospecting is the activity of, I think.
Yeah,
for sure.
Man, so you're going to be in a Zoom room with like friends all day, and not working. Good for you. I'm excited. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Let's see.
To make that happen now. Huh? Heavy week last week to make that happen this week.
That's fair. I've got my deep work session immediately after this. I've got the real estate mastermind group at 11. let's see, I had to move one of my coaching calls from yesterday to today because their day got a little bit busy. And then I've got sales lab at 2 p.m. And then other than that, some blocking and tackling and cleaning up of some systems and some stuff. So
cool. I sold 2 more pairs of shoes, so I'm going to drop those at the post office today.
I forgot about that. So which ones did you sell?
I sold the gold 5s, which my daughter was particularly upset about. And John also liked them very much. So did I. I just picked the 5 pair that I absolutely adored, and it was like the gold ones were number 6 because I have another pair of 5s. So I like the red, white, and blue ones just for I can wear them with more things. The golds are kind of special.
Okay.
So I'll probably buy another pair of golds at some point, though, just because they're the most painful ones I've had to sell. And then the Galaxies. I don't know if you've seen the Galaxies. They're really interesting. I really like those too. See, the private problem. Like everyone I'm selling, it's like my children. I'm like, yes, but they've got this cool thing, and like.
So Anne just commented, right? I'm gonna put stuff on the screen here that she is good at PR and marketing, but closing sales is a whole different ball game.
She is. She's very, very, very good at PR and marketing. She's really, really good at what's the word? Like not at scale. So it wouldn't be like running ads and running systems, like one to one. She's good at PR and marketing and like jumping in there and having conversations. She's really good at follow up. She's like a model for me for follow up. She's so good at that.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, do you know why closing is hard for you? Just out of curiosity. It's okay if you don't have an answer.
Hi, Michelle.
Cool. So, like, your Thursday is going to be crazy then.
Somewhat. I actually booked it with some stuff so that I wouldn't just get hit with a whole bunch of, hey, now I need you type stuff. I saved that for Friday. Yeah, because we have our workshops for BBN on Thursday, like the third Thursday or whatever it is, fourth Thursday. Friday is looking pretty hairy though. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, cool. All right, man. I think that's all we got. We should probably kind of leave it there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, man.
All right. Well, and if you're typing out a response, let's maybe save it for tomorrow. Oh, wait. I think it's relationship building that's my strength, but I don't enjoy sales. When the service sells itself, that's awesome. Oh, and there's so much to dig into that there.
Let's talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah. Let's talk about that tomorrow. Because I feel that Anne's viewpoint of that is the same that most people do or have, and I think that when you're concerned about the relationship, then the sales conversation is easier, right? It's when you don't care about the relationship that you come across as somebody who has got sales breath, right? And it's just all over them. So it could be that Anne is avoiding that label completely. What up?
She's got the eye. She's heavy eye.
Oh yeah. So, oh, that's interesting. The eye thing, right? So you might have some concern about that because you think that it's going to lead to people to not like you. But if you're only pitching to people who raise their hand and say, I want to hear about this thing, then they're buying in to the conversation mentally. Sales breath. When you're probably doing it all correctly, you're probably just not as what's the word I'm looking for? Ready, fire, aim as a lot of other salespeople are. So it feels like you're not doing it well. That could be the case. So, well, once again, everybody's got a volume component of like their sales side of things, and some people are doing a lot of volume at the proposal stage and blowing themselves out of the water, and and then other people are putting in a volume game of disqualifying people so that way they only pitch to people who make sense to talk with. So we can keep talking about this tomorrow if you guys would like.
Yeah, that'd be good. Let's do that because I'm a little more deep than I don't have as much of a problem maybe as Ann might have with it, but it's still something that goes through my head. So let's talk more about that tomorrow.
Awesome. All right. Well, Bill, you're going to be having fun all day, so you're not going to need anything, I don't think. And my schedule looks pretty solid, so see you in the morning.
See you in the morning.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate it.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.